Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is a drama from the UK, English language, released in the year 2006, directed by Andrea Arnold, and this movie is called Red Road. So Red Road is set in Glasgow, Scotland. You got this woman who works in a CCTV building where she's documenting the daily goings on in Glasgow. You've got behind train stations, teenagers doing drugs, teenagers getting into fights, having sex. You've got this man who's walking his sick dog, and so she's living her life through these cameras, and it's a very dull and repetitive lifestyle, but it's a lifestyle that she's become accustomed to. But that lifestyle is going to be rattled when one day she looks through the camera and she sees someone that she believes she's met before. And so this creates a lot of obsession because this man actually is connected to her past, and it had something happen that was actually quite devastating. So she's desperate to actually get to know this guy a lot more. So her obsession goes from watching him on these cameras to actually going outside, tracking him down to his house and trying to get something off her chest that she's been wanting to say for years, and to finally get some closure. But that closure is going to send her down a darkwood spiral of obsession that is going to lead into a very dangerous matter. So what that matter is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Red Road. This is a very intriguing film, and it's one of those movies that you don't necessarily love, but you can really appreciate it for what it is. This is a very European film, and I think that it's definitely targeted at a very specific audience. If you are a fan of Michael Haneke, Lars von Trier, and all those other directors who dare to be different from the conventional storytelling, then I think you will appreciate Red Road for what it is. I think Andrea Arnold is a fan of those directors because it feels like it's paying tribute to that. So it is very European, it is very different from American cinema, so be very careful for that. And so as far as recommending this film, I can't really recommend it to everyone because it is a very dull film, but I thought the dull quality of the movie really symbolised what it was all about. Now, ultimately this movie is about the central character. It is a movie about the decaying sort of world that is Glasgow, and how dangerous Glasgow is these days, and how privacy is very limited in today's world. Is that you've got all these cameras and you're looking at all these people and you feel wrong for actually looking into the lives of these people, but it's necessary because of the state of Glasgow. And so it is an indication of privacy and how we're being watched all the time without us even knowing. And so you've got this really dull, really ugly sort of quality to the film that I actually thought symbolised the inner turmoil that this main character was going through. It wasn't necessarily a movie about Glasgow, it wasn't necessarily a movie about the dangers of Glasgow. I thought Glasgow really symbolised the person that this main character was. She was a very tormented person. You could sense something in her history was very bad and that she was slowly unravelling at the seams. And it was actually very sad to see her because you actually felt she was a very realistic person, she was a very relatable person, but there was something in her past that happened that is slowly eating her alive, and she is desperate to see this person. Now, the reason why this movie is so interesting without anything particularly interesting happening is because it doesn't tell you everything at the start of the film. A lot of these movies have to tell you who this person is, why they are obsessed with this person, what's going to happen. So it gives you a platform to really jump off, and that's the sense of control. But what European films do, and this film does in particular, is it doesn't give you anything. It actually feels like you're just joining her on one specific day in her life. So she knows who this man is, this man knows who she is, but we don't. And so in order for us to actually want to know more, we have to watch the film more, we have to keep watching the film. So that ultimately gives you a lot of interest, is because you've got these two characters who are very interesting, very well played by Tony Curran and Katie Dickie, and because you don't know anything, as the movie goes along, it naturally and it slowly unravels these characters to a point where you actually feel very invested. And so I think that is a very smart move in not giving you everything and not explaining everything at the start, because then all of a sudden you've got the anticipation of something interesting happening. But if you don't know anything at the start of the film, all you know about these characters is that the main character is a female and that she works at this CCTV building. But by the end of the film, you know so much more about her, and that's because as the movie goes along, this character is slowly evolving into something so much more than just a cardboard cutout. And I think that's very smart because although, as I said, nothing interesting is happening in one particular scene, it is still interesting because these characters are slowly coming in to a more three-dimensional shape. So the acting was absolutely fantastic. Katie Dickie, she didn't really have to do anything extravagant to really bring across what she was feeling. She's a fantastic actress, and I thought she was so relatable, so sympathetic. And this movie was a very sad film, a very depressing film. As I said, this woman has been torn apart by something that's happened in her past, and you sense that you don't know what she's going to do. You don't know how she is going to react to actually seeing Tony Curran's character. Now, Tony Curran's character, once again, very, very intriguing, very mysterious. When she sees him in the camera, you know, okay, something is going on. So the chemistry between Katie Dickey's character and Tony Curran's character is very awkward, and it's very menacing because you don't know, as I said, because you don't know what this guy has done in his past. You don't know if he's capable of violence, or you don't know if something happened that was an accident. You don't know anything. So these characters could be ticking time bombs, and so it always creates that certain sense of suspense. And so it is a very skillful movie because she's created something, this director, out of absolutely nothing. And so the cinematography is very bland, bleak. You feel like you have to take a shower at the end of this film. I thought that there was sex scenes in this movie that were very unarousing. There is no real beauty to this film. It felt like just a complete ugliness that is just slapped in your face. But as I said, it also symbolised the inner turmoil that this main character was going through. So very limited characters, very realistic dialogue, and I just thought it was a very interesting film. I thought the end of the movie, I would have liked it to go down a slightly different avenue, but the overall end of the film, I thought it was decent, and it does give you something to think about, but once again, it doesn't follow a conventional story type. So if you are a fan of American films, then I would be very careful coming into Red Road because it is very different. So it's selected at for a very acquired taste, but if you're a fan of great acting and a very slow and very interesting story and a very skillful way that it actually unfolds, then you might get something out of Red Road. And it also symbolises the lack of privacy in today's world, and how obsessive the need for closure can be, and how that can ruin a person and can also build a person up as well. So overall, fantastically interesting film. Not saying it's a brilliant movie by any means, but it is something that's a little bit different, and overall I'm going to give Red Road 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.